Hey, brothers and sisters, this is Pastor Nathan Deisem, and I'm in my pickup truck, my hoopty jalopy pickup truck, doing my devotions in the Gospels. I'm really glad that you guys can join me. We've just read John chapter 13, which was amazing. Just talk about the atmosphere. You can feel it. We are getting to the point where you can count down in hours how far away we are from Jesus' crucifixion and death, and he knows. So here you are celebrating Passover, this holy day within the Jewish faith, a celebration of God having delivered his people. And you got to carry with you the fact that you know, I'm about to be crucified, suffer and die for the sins of the world. What's more, Jesus knows that the one who is going to betray him is in this room right now. That's a huge theme in this chapter. John, the evangelist, the gospel writer, wants to make it very clear to us. Jesus knew that he was about to be betrayed by Judas. We didn't know. Jesus knew. We didn't know. Jesus knew. I hear you, John. I believe you. You didn't know. And that winds up being important leading up to the event that I want us to take a close look at, which is John chapter 13, verses 31 to 35. Because after Jesus has the Passover meal with them, after Jesus washes their feet, which is another amazing, earth-shattering, paradigm-shifting teaching about those who are greatest in the kingdom need to mimic Jesus, being leaders who express their leadership through loving service to one another. Amazing. He also predicts who is going to betray him. They didn't get it. They didn't even know that it was Judas, even though when it's being told to us in hindsight, it seems pretty clear that he was talking about Judas. But John wanted us to know that they did not know. And then we come to this text, chapter 13, 31 to 35. I'm going to begin reading right now. Therefore, when he, Judas, had gone out, Jesus said, "Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him immediately." A major theme of what Jesus is expressing right now. Judas has just left. Think about the relief, the pain and the anguish and the understanding you're about to suffer, be crucified, and died. And one of your closest friends is going to betray you, but he's gone. And everyone that remains here, I absolutely love and treasure. I love Judas, but these men love me, and I don't have much time left to share with them what needs to be shared with them. And this is what he says. Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. That concept of glorified, it comes up 5 times in just 2 verses. 2 of those times, it's in this tense, which we call the aorist tense. We don't really have it in English. We can express it in a sentence. It means an event, a verb that is beginning and still going on. Jesus says, the Son of Man is glorified, being glorified, and God is glorified in him. And what he means is this: now that Judas has left this room, the events leading to my crucifixion are happening now. I am about to die, and God is going to be glorified for it. Think about what Jesus could have done. He sort of vaguely said, one of you is going to betray me, but he didn't point it out. If Jesus had said this, one of you is going to betray me, and it's Judas, get him, boys, we already know that Peter will straight up cut somebody, right? They would have stopped him. And Jesus, the God-man, God, the Son, submitting to the will and the purpose of God the Father perfectly, but Jesus, the God-man, does not want to die. He's not excited about it, looking forward to it. Can you imagine the pressure or the temptation to say, you know what? I'm out. Get him, boys. I don't want to do this. But as Judas leaves, you could feel this sense of relief. God is glorified in my obedience because I am going willingly to my sacrificial death on the cross. And what's the implication? Future glory that is to come. He says glorified 3 more times in the future tense. Verse 32. If God is glorified in him, the Son of Man, Jesus, God will also glorify him in himself and will glorify him immediately. That as surely as Jesus glorifies God in his death, God is about to glorify Jesus, God the Son, in his resurrection. Everything that he has taught will be proven in this final victory over sin and death, and the whole world will see and know. So that's the atmosphere about Jesus' obedience to death on the cross. But time is running out. As I've said, we're hours away. So he wants to share this teaching with them before time runs out. He says in verse 33, "Little children, I am with you a little while longer. You will seek me, and as I said to the Jews, now I also say to you, where I am going, you cannot come." Verse 34, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. Verse 35, by this all men will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. It's kind of a shocking thing for Jesus to say, a new command I give you. It's God who gives commands. There are 613 commandments in the Hebrew portion of our Bible, which we sometimes call the Old Testament. And Jesus is saying, I'm about to lay out a new one right now. It's not new completely in nature, because as he said, in the incident in Matthew 22, when they asked him what are the greatest commands, what's the greatest commandment, he said the first and the second are similar. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. It's a new commandment because he alters its quality. Don't just love your neighbor as yourself. Love one another as I have loved you. Already within this chapter, he has shown that his love for them does not exceed his willingness to humble himself and serve them as a lowly servant. That there is no bottom to which he is willing to stoop in order to love them. And as the gospel plays out, we know where he is headed. He's about to lay down his life for them, for all the world. That is the love that Jesus has for humanity. That is the love that Jesus has for his people, for his disciples. And that is the love that he has commanded us to show one another. Why? Verse 35, that it's because this love, which is so astonishing, just as it was when Jesus showed it to us, that the love we share for one another will be so amazing that all men, all the world will know that we're his disciples if we have love for one another. Church, it's my desire that we would have such sacrificial, servant love for one another, the kind of love that Jesus has showed us, that when the world sees us, they say, wow, you really are Jesus's people. I want to be a part of that. I hope that you guys were blessed by this. I certainly was. Thanks for sharing it with me. I love you guys. Let's study the Gospel of John some more.